it is officially that time of year, July, where here in zone 9A, my garden is struggling. So one thing that I'm going to be doing today is pulling out some of the plants that I have and starting to make room for the fall garden and thinking about what I want to do for fall. So these tomato plants, which have just struggled honestly all year, are one of the things that is definitely going to go. So I am going to spend just a little bit of time. I'm going to try to save these tomato clips. I'm going to put them in a pile right there, so don't let me forget that I did that. Spend some time earlier today thinking about the fall garden and what it is exactly that I want to plant this year. Now, I actually have never really done a fall garden before. Oh dear, I can't get this clip off. I've never really planted a fall garden before. Usually I have let my garden kind of get to this point in spring and then just thrown my hands up in the air and been like, oh, forget it. But this year, I really want to try to take advantage of the fall garden because where I am in Central Texas, I live just outside of Austin. So where I am here, the summer is just brutally, brutally hot, and it really stunts a lot of the plants at this point. So, for example, your tomato plants, once you're having consecutive days over 90 degrees, they're going to stop flowering and they're just not going to really do anything useful for you anymore. Whereas in the fall, everything cools down a little bit. The pest pressure for sure is down quite a bit. So there's a little bit more flexibility, I guess, to plant and not have to battle this like crazy heat. That is also why I'm only going to be doing this a little bit at a time, is because it is so hot and I'm trying to take advantage of my daughter's nap time, which means it is it is the heat of the day right now. Do not recommend that for when you are working in your garden. Do as I say and not as I do. You want to work when it is not the heat of the day, and that way you're not putting yourself at risk in your health, and stay very hydrated. But sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. So I'm trying to take advantage of her nap time and get a little bit of work done out here. What I want to do with this particular bed for the fall is broccoli. And I was looking online, and it looks like broccoli needs around 18 to 24 inches space. So I think what I want to do, this is a 6-foot by 3-foot bed. So I think I should be able to get 6 broccoli plants in here, 2 rows of 3. Right? That makes sense, right? The math is mathing. And I am going to start more tomatoes. I have some tomatoes that are still healthy. They're looking okay. So I'm going to let them just keep rocking and hope that they'll produce some more for me. But I'm going to start some more, but I'm going to start all determinate tomatoes. So my goal for today is to get this bed cleared out some. And then I also am hoping to go ahead and start some seeds, like get some seeds going. That way it'll be ready to transplant when it gets a little bit closer to fall. This is the bed that I was just cleaning out. And then right down here in front of that, this is another bed that I would like to fill with broccoli. Now, it is getting so hot, so let's go ahead and take all those cuttings that I have over here, and I put some on the ground over here, and I'm going to move those so that they can compost in place where I want them to. So this area here right in the front, this is where I have expanded part of what's going to be the in-ground garden, and you can see all of these grass and weeds right here I definitely need to deal with, but that is not today's problem. what I did was I laid down cardboard and then just put wood chips on top. And I'm using that to suppress all of the weeds and kind of kill off the grass and everything. So I'm just going to let these hang out, especially right here where I have like some weeds popping up. So my plan is to get some of this grass cut down. I need to move this T-post. I did have a fence or a cattle panel right here acting as a fence. And I will lay down more cardboard and wood chips on top of that area as well. So just kind of gonna let these hang out, let them help to suppress those weeds. And like I said, on a different day, probably in the evening when my husband's watching the kids, I'll come and take care of this area right here. But the next part of that is starting seeds, which is like my favorite. I love doing that. Plus, bonus, it's in the air conditioning. After Zoe woke up from her nap, we took a little trip to Home Depot to grab a few bags of potting mix. And this is just what I'm going to use for starting my seeds in. There is special seed starting mix that you can get, but I have not had any trouble using potting mix. So I grab a couple of bags of those, and then we are ready to get started on to our next step. Zoe Bug and I took a look at our garden plan for the fall and got everything all written out. And it looks like we're going to need 12 broccoli plants, 15 tomato. I have my soil just right down here on the floor. And 4 Brussels sprouts. So 12 broccoli, 15 tomato, and 4 Brussels sprouts. That's what we need to start right now. I just fill up each little seed starting block with the soil, and then I will be ready to start putting in the seeds. I've heard an old story, how my Savior came from glory, how he gave his life on Calvary to save like me. Is it gonna be Zoe's turn? Zoe, I think I'm gonna sneeze. All right, so we just finished up filling up 36 of these little seed starting trays, and I'm gonna go ahead and start planting. I really only needed 31, but I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple of herbs, and then it's always a really good idea to have a few extras when you're doing your starts. These are the 3 trays of starts that I ended up with, and so I will just keep babying these and taking care of them until about September, when it's going to be time to put them out into the garden. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Be sure and leave a comment below and let me know what your garden plans are looking like for the fall, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!